So, all right. Good morning, everybody. Oh, good, Vivian. I see you.
Boker Tov.
Okay, or. Um, so I said we were going to talk about the Pesach, the Seder, and I hope you all do have a Haggadah with you. Seder means order, and literally there is an order that we're supposed to follow. I can't see all of you good. But I am going to pull up this new Haggadah that I'm going to use, and I think I told you about it. It is, I should be able to, let's see. Here, where is it? Free. There we go. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, good. Now I may not be able to make it larger. Whoops, I got to move you all over so that I can do this. All right. So it's more modern. And I'm not going to read everything about it, but I am going to give you some things about it that I think are important. The thing about it is it's a lot with Israel. It's a lot about today. Whatever happened in our history as Jews and slaves and the anti-Semitism is happening today as anti-Semitism. We have that, and it's growing. So we all have to be aware of it, and we all have to be stand up for ourselves, be proud of ourselves as Jewish women. Let's see, I'm going to go on. So here it says, I just thought this was cute. 8 steps to a kick-ass Seder, right?
Mhm.
So I just briefly read. I don't know if you can read it or not, but
It's a bit small.
okay, it is. And if I make it larger, it will get, that's a little bit, but then I can't move it. I can't.
Okay.
So I'll read it to you. The Seder police, there are none. I don't, my question is, I don't know, and I'm going to stop share a minute real quick to ask you and see. How many of you have led a Seder? Okay,
With my husband.
good.
Yeah.
With your husband, okay.
With
But
my
you've
husband, yeah, with my husband.
Okay, good, good. Any of you let it alone without, your husband just sitting there? Or just your, no, okay. And I'm assuming, which I know I shouldn't, but you've all been to a Seder. Everybody's been to a Seder,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, Janet, where are you? There you are. Okay, so you've all been to a Seder. Every Seder, it can be different. I mean, they can be different. And I think all different. It depends upon who's leading it. And it also depends upon the Haggadah. Growing up, we read from the Maxwell House. I don't know if any of you remember that. The Maxwell House gave free Haggadahs, right? Right. Well, those are newer versions. I had the old version at one time. And
The
my
blue
father,
one, the blue one, yeah.
yeah, my father would do the Seder, all in Hebrew. We never did any English. So those of us who didn't know Hebrew that well just sat there, kind of bored. But he didn't miss a shot. We read the whole thing. It was a long Seder. I'll be honest with you. I can't remember if we did the back. We must have done the back of it because we always had Elijah. We opened the door for Elijah, and that's the second half. I don't know how much of Birkat Hamazon we did. I can't remember, but my father grew up. His stepfather was a rebbe, a teacher, so I know they did a lot. But the thing is, and here I'll go back to sharing it, and I'm glad to see all of you there, is there's truly no exact way. And I hope that whatever Seders you go to, that if you want to participate and if you want to add maybe something you've read here or something else you've read, that wherever you go or if you have, that you'll be inclusive like that. It's just, first of all, if there's young children, it's important to make it a little bit fun. And if you have non-Jews or Jews, and there's more in this about that. So like we say, there's no Seder police. You do what you can. Everybody does as much or as little as they want. And here it says, how long should my Seder be? Well, they say as long as possible, which could be just the 4 cups of wine and the Seder plate, and that's it. Or you could come back after you've done the beginning part, had your meal, and then do Birkat Hamazon. That's thanking God for the food we had on our plates. Um, it's up to the group. It is. I have had Seder, and I have had it where some people have left. They couldn't stay. Fine. I complete it always. My kids have learned that. I didn't do it when they were little, but with grandkids, I have. We always complete it. If they can't stay, fine. But I always, for me, felt the need to do everything else that's after the Seder plate and all that part. So, and it says prepare. I did get this book out and I'm taking things out of it. Know your audience. Like I said, if you have children there, you want to make it a little bit fun. I do interactive um, plagues for them. Uh, I think I've told some of you, I'll repeat it. This one I always find. Haters gonna hate. If you're gonna lead a Seder, then someone's got to tell you this. So it might as well be us. There are probably, definitely going to be people at your table who are going to be impatient from the get-go. They might check their watch. They might ask you to skip a reading or two. These are the same people who leave a great concert before the encore. Please, for the love of all that is good and holy, do not let the haters get under your skin, and don't rush through your Seder because of them. And maybe don't invite them next year. So, um, my husband is not a hater, but he cannot wait for the meal. I mean, he does it all, but he's lost patience before, years ago. So he always, when I say what page are we on, he picks the page where it says Shulchan Aruch, the meal. So the kids all laugh and they say, no, Dad, we're still here. This one is important, 9:6, I think. Watch out for too much Hebrew. Most likely, at most of, I shouldn't say that, at my Seder's, there are many people. I have non-Jews. I have people who really don't know much about their Judaism, have never learned Hebrew, et cetera, et cetera. So we've always read in English a lot that's there. And then we talk about it. And I always make sure that our brachot are in Hebrew, but then we read the English because not everybody knows what we've just said. So that's important. And it's not hard and it doesn't take a lot more time. It's just being inclusive, truly. And I do know that with many families nowadays, they are interfaith. Many children, many of you might have children who it's interfaith. And you want to be inclusive. That's just the most important. That's what makes for happiness is being inclusive and caring. The centerpiece is drinking games and other fun stuff. I'm not into drinking games. My daughter, but I'm not. So I don't think I'll do that. But I do have centerpieces. I have flowers, but I do have, I put animals along because when it comes to one of the plagues and the animals die, I tell them to knock them over. So then they get an idea. And invite people now and then later. That's to me common knowledge. All right. So whether it's your first Seder or your 107th, and whether you've cleaned your home of every last crumb of chametz, food that has leavening, or you plan to eat an English muffin for breakfast tomorrow, it doesn't matter. The Seder is a chance for us all to be taken on a short but important journey from slavery to freedom and to join millions of Jews and non-Jews all over the world who are doing the same thing. They say, heard recently it was 80%. I thought it was even more, but at least 80% of Jews go to a Seder, one Seder at least. And that's important. And often people don't realize there is a Passover story you have to tell, which it's in our Haggadahs. Briefly, it's like when it talks about the Aramean, we know that was Jacob when he went to Egypt. And also, you have to kind of delve into it, but some Seders, some of these booklets will give you an exact story, which is nice. So this is something that I do, and it might be later. It says, as we begin tonight's Seder, Let's take a moment to be thankful for being together. We make a small community of storytellers. But why this story again? Most of us already know the story of Passover. The answer is that we are not merely telling a story, we are being called to the act of empathy. Some of our tables observe this holiday every year, and some are experiencing it for the first time. Some of us are Jewish, some of us are not. Passover is enjoyed by people of various faiths because freedom is at the core of each of our stories. All who are in need, let them come celebrate Passover with us. Now we are here, next year in the land of Israel. When I lived in Maryland, in Baltimore, there was a Black church there. And every year they did a Seder. Because truly, our Jews and Blacks have lived the same thing. We went through slavery in Egypt. They've been through slavery in America. And it's just important that we care about each other and know that. This Ruth's mix, I'm going to do it. Ruth, as in the book of, was a great grandmother of King David, was part of an interfaith marriage. Ruth's mix welcomes everyone to the Seder table and honors the growing diversity of the Jewish people, those who were born Jewish, those who converted, those who are not Jewish, and those who just come for the singing and wine. Everyone takes a bit of Ruth's mix, a combination of almonds, raisins, and chocolate chips. Each of these ingredients is good on its own, but when mixed together, they're even better. And I like my Seder to have a lot of symbolism, so I will do that. There's, I just think that's important. And this is a blessing for anyone who isn't Jewish. I'm not going to read it now, but it is nice that you say it for someone because I know in both of my Seders, I think maybe just the second one, there will be a couple of non-Jews, their husbands of the families. The children are being raised Jewish. And see down here it says for those raising kids Jewish. That's you really need to thank them because it's not their religion. And yes, they married this woman who was Jewish, and maybe they discussed it before they get married, and maybe they didn't. But it's just important to acknowledge them. And this one is new, very new, and I believe in it. Wait, before we go on, can we talk about the elephant at the Seder table? He's demanding our attention and we need to give it to him because it's a matter of life and death. The elephant is anti-Semitism.
Mhm.
There's the familiar white supremacy movement that hates everyone who doesn't look like them. The more subtle, I don't really mean it when I talk crap about Jews kind. And of course, the insidious form of hostility directed at Israel, which crosses the line to anti-Semitism far too often. Hate is hate. Jews, Christians, Muslims, Hindus, others. Everyone is worse off for it. Are we going to end it? No. We must talk about it, write about it, learn about it, and call it out. Those who wish it to erase Israel and the Jewish people are relentless. This is a time that Jews and allies must work just as hard. Now that we've acknowledged this elephant, let's not let him plunder the table. If we do, we'll never get to the 4 questions. And besides, the matzo ball soup will get cold. Seders end with the phrase, next year in Jerusalem. We may be going out on a limb here, but we're guessing that most of us won't be in Jerusalem next year. We'll probably be sitting right here, but we can't take that for granted. We've already learned the better lesson that anti-Semitism is never little. It is never unimportant, and it should never, ever be ignored. I know you've all heard me talk. I'm a very strong Zionist. I just believe so much in the state of Israel, and I do speak up. I do, and I know it's hard, but I do sign any kind of petitions. I do go. We have whenever we have a federation has a Israel Day, I go. When I'm teaching the kids that I teach, they know about Israel. Every morning, every Sunday, my kids, my class come in. The first thing we do, I wrote a prayer for the state of Israel, and they say it. They know it by heart now, and they understand it. And I never have heard back from any of the parents, but I don't think that the parents are against it. But at any rate, I know that I have taught these children how important Israel is. They are Jewish, and many of them are from interfaith families. And their spouse, the other non-Jewish parent, also understands Israel. So that's to me very important. That is something that, and if anything ever comes up, you need to. I'm going to stop the share just a minute, just to give you another, for instance. I'm in a book club, and with two Jewish women, actually it was three, and my neighbor who was not Jewish, and my neighbor, but she's been around Jewish people all her life. She was a nurse in Baltimore. You can't avoid being with Jews. She's a very everyone's wonderful kind of person. She believes in, and I've always liked that about her. Except we were reading one of the books, we were reviewing it, and I forget exactly which book, and I forget how it came up, but her daughter is Muslim, and her daughter brought to her attention this Muslim man in the West Bank. And yes, the West Bank has its issues. It has its problems. Yes, the West Bank, some of the Jews there aren't very nice. They're really not. Those settlers aren't really always acting like good Jews, but she made a statement that this man had said that there is apartheid in West Bank. Now, my girlfriend, who was part of this book group, is a very strong Hadassah member. And she started to say something, but then she said to me afterwards, I can't be in a book club with her. And I talked to Ginny, and Ginny said, well, I didn't really mean it, but she said it. And when they say it, when it comes out of their mouth, maybe they don't understand what they said, but what they said hurt. And that we just have to stand up for ourselves. I will tell you, I asked her not to be in our book club. I still see her. I talk to her. That's fine. But the other two women were so uncomfortable with what she said and what we think she feels that we would have broken up our book club, and I would have rather one person not be and not us break it up. We've been together a long time. So the point is, somebody says, oh, I'm going to Jew you down. Correct them. It's not nice. It's anti-Semitism. When they say, oh, all the Jews are rich. Let me tell you something. I'm Jewish. I'm not rich. You have to correct people nicely. Yes, nicely, but you have to correct people. This is what happened to us. This is what's happened to us as Jews from centuries. We've always had this problem, but we have to speak up now. We can't let it. And yes, we can get into the Holocaust, but we won't. That's a deep thing, which a lot of us know. So I just feel, and I say it, we just have to speak up nicely, but correct them. Make them teach them, educate them to understand what they're saying. It's really hard. So that's enough of that. Let's go back to this. Okay. All right. So this booklet also has a lot of cute songs, but and so if I could probably send this booklet to you all, I think, but I'm not sure. If I can, I will, because it's got some cute songs. So here we go. This was another thing, and I don't know if I'll do the whole thing, but Passover Remembered. And it just is that thinking about what the Jews had when they left Egypt, which is part of our story, pack nothing, bring only your determination to serve and your willingness to be free. There's other, don't wait for the bread to rise. Take nourishment for the journey, but eat standing, be ready to move at a moment's notice. Do not hesitate to leave your old ways behind, fear, silence, and submission. And that's true. I'm not going to read any more on these. There's a lot of them, but Here we get to our, actually, I should stop again. Any questions or any comments you want to make?
Where did you get this?
Where did I get it? It's called Jubilong. You actually can go into jubilong.org, pull it up, and it may even have that one up there now. So if so, you can just print it out. They allow you to print a copy, and then they ask you if you want to buy a copy.
I have
And they
four,
buy.
I have 4 copies coming today.
Good. So, and so they do it through Amazon, and I've stopped with Amazon. So, but I printed up a copy and then I went to one of the synagogues, my daughter's synagogue, and we printed more. So you can definitely go and find it, I'm sure, and
Okay.
do that. It's a great, they have a lot of good things that they'll send you. Okay. So here we go. So the Seder order. This, no matter what you do, this is the most important thing, I think, is to get through the Seder order, and there are explanations later about it. But you have Kiddush, you have hand washing. The first time you wash your hands, you don't say a bracha. It's just preparing for the Seder. And then there's another time, ritual hand washing, where you do say a bracha because you're going to prepare for the meal, and you're going to say it over all these other foods. But it's just okay. So ritual hand washing, a lot of people don't do it. I've been doing it. I love it. It's just different. Dipping the greens in salt water. We always say to the kids and to anybody, if I don't have kids there, why are we using salt water? It's important that people know why we're doing these things. So, of course, the salt water is to remind us of the tears. We have the middle matzah telling the story, ritual hand washing, blessing of the meal on the matzah. Just so you know, there are 2 brachot before you have the matzah. You have the one, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, because matzah is made from wheat. And that tells us that we thank God for giving us the wheat that we can make the bread. We don't thank him for bread. We thank him for the acknowledgement that we have the wheat, now we'll make the bread. So you say that one, and then you say it over matzah because we didn't let it rise. So it is different, but it still has wheat in it. So we say it over just matzah. Bitter herbs and sweet charoset. They're actually, in most of the Haggadahs, there's not much about the charoset. But we know that it's a part of it, and it's part of the Hillel sandwich that we eat. The bitter herbs, if you haven't heard, I hope I'm not just telling all of you things that you haven't heard, that you've heard already. I don't want to be too repetitive, but we do make the children acknowledge that, and adults, that we have the bitter herbs because of the bitterness of slavery, of which bitterness of slavery continues. And then there's a Hillel sandwich, which is the charoset, which is sweet, and the horseradish, which is bitter. You put them together on a matzah, and you really don't say a bracha over that. You just are saying it, and you can read about how Hillel came up with this, that he felt that it was important to look at the bitterness and the sweetness, because there's always something good from it, and then we learn from it and we correct ourselves about it. And then, like I say, after the meal is the Shulchan Aruch. And then after that, I hope that you all, if you have kids or even just teenagers, they would do it too. They like to do it because if you get a prize or money, you do the afikomen. You've broken the matzah, the middle matzah, up here, and someone puts it in either a bag, afikomen bag, or a napkin or something, and hide it. And then the kids go look for it, and that's actually your dessert. That actually symbolizes the end of the meal. In my family, we do that. We let them find it while we're clearing, and then we each take a piece of it, and we say something about it. And then we have our regular dessert, cakes and stuff. And but then after that, we say grace after meals, inviting in Elijah, and I can remember from the time I was little, we would open the door and let Eliyahu in. Hebrew is Eliyahu, and in English it's Elijah. They say, this is one thing, way I learned, that when Elijah comes, when Eliyahu comes, excuse me, we will have peace on earth. He is a prophet, but is considered like a Messiah. Now, the Chabad, the Chabad Lubavitch believed that one of their rabbis was a Messiah because he brought peace to them. He didn't bring peace to the world, and that's what we're hoping for, is peace in the world, which, I mean, nowadays it looks really distant, but you just hope for the best. And singing songs, there are years that we didn't do hardly any. Other years, depending upon who was there, I have a friend who knows all of them in Hebrew, and she's constant. She says, let's do this one. Okay, let's do this one. Okay. So we do. Okay, I'll keep going. So here is when we start. We do the candle lighting. This Saturday night, because it's Shabbat we actually have Havdalah, a brief Havdalah. You don't do all the singing, you just do the brachot for Havdalah to end Shabbat. It's that separation between Shabbat and now the festival, not Shavuot, not the week, but the festival. So you have Havdalah, then you have the candle lighting. And there's the bracha here, but we have something in English that we can say through here. And you can make up anything you want, to be honest with you. You can just say, this says, may these candles lit on the festival of freedom bring light into our hearts and minds. May they renew our courage to act for justice and freedom here and now. May they illuminate the path of truth, justice, and peace. And one thing about freedom, we have to concern ourselves also with freedom for other people. That is important. It's not just our freedom. Yes, we want to be free and able to make our own decisions and that kind of thing. But we also worry about the freedom of other nations. There are people who are in slavery now. If you look at some of the very strict Arab countries, the women are not free. They are made to be covered entirely. They can't, in some of those countries, they can't drive. They're like slaves. So we do pray for that. And so you say the Kiddush over the blessing over the wine. This is your first cup. If nothing else, try and get through 4 cups. Even if you do the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then 3, 4. Try and get through 4 cups. There is oh, I didn't pull it up. There is a reason for the 4 cups. I will send it to you that I had looked up at, and I can never remember the exact until I have to read it. Send to 4 cups. And then here's where they have it. I sometimes do the Shehechianu before I even start. I believe it's important to do a Shehechianu because there's always, it's either new for a year, a new thing that's happening, maybe new people, maybe you have something new occurring. So the Shehechianu basically thanks, it's just a prayer of gratitude and just thanking God for everything that is for us that we see. So I always say it. I will say that, excuse me, I got a call. I will say that because there are new people at our table, that's something new, and that we say the Shehechianu, welcoming them. All right, here's something that I wanted to add to you. So here's the Seder plate. You all have their Seder plates. We know that there are spots for everything. Roasted shank bone. It's hard to get a shank bone in Sarasota, Florida. So in the past, I have taken a chicken leg, but for vegetarians, use a roasted beet instead. And it's makes sense. It looks like blood. The shank bone reminds us of the blood that was put on the lintel on the doorway, and that the angel of death passed over for the 10th plague. And so the beets look like blood. That's, to me, makes some sense. So I'm probably using beets this year. Cut up so that it drips all over there. I won't give it to people, but that they'll see that. And then we'll talk about why we did that. And so as I said before, These are the different things that maror, haroset, karpas, salt water. Now here's the one that I hope a lot of you do, is the orange. And there's different reasons, and I'm going to read you their reason, and then I'll tell you what I learned before. Putting an orange on the Seder plate. The orange is a symbol of fruitfulness and inclusion of LGBTQ plus members of the Jewish community. We spit out the seeds of homophobia and welcome all who feel marginalized. I like that. That is good. There are two other ones. One is that it's like Israelis, like Jews, hard on the outside, but sweet on the inside. And then the longer story that I learned years ago was that Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel's daughter, Suzanne Heschel, her father died. She went to a synagogue to say Kaddish. It was an Orthodox synagogue. They didn't want to include her. And she goes and she stands up anyway and she says it. And the rabbi says to her afterwards, you standing, wait, let me get this right. It's like having an orange on a Seder plate, having a woman stand. And so from that point on, the feminists, the women of the feminist movement put an orange on their Seder plate. Now, Suzanne, I've heard her, and she said that wasn't exactly how it happened, but it makes sense. We can put that orange there to show there's diversity, inclusion, as well as the part about LGBTQ and Israelis, that it's something different, and we want people to be aware that we are all important. Okay. The roasted egg. This is a lot I learned that it's for birth, it's for spring, it's for the new people. Here they say it stands in place of one of the sacrificial offerings performed in the days of the Second Temple. And another popular interpretation is that the egg is like the Jewish people. The hotter you make it for them, the tougher they get. That's kind of true now, I think. All right, there's a blessing for Israel in this, which is something I saw and I thought this is wonderful. Putting dates on your Seder plate. Date palm trees are known for their resilience and ability to thrive in arid climates, and they stand for perseverance, abundance, and growth. The same can be said for our brothers and sisters in Israel. Take a date before reading this next blessing, and this is the blessing about it. And if nothing else, I can make a copy of that and send you that if you would like. But I will try and send the whole thing. But I do think that my Seder this year is going to be a lot more about Israel and what Israel, not talking about what happened October 7th as much as who they are now and what they're trying and who they're doing. And I will probably have an empty place at my Seder for the hostages. We have got to bring them home. And we've got to remember that. And we have to let our political people know that so that they do. Do I believe that somebody here can stop that war? No. I only believe Israel can. And but we do need to bring them home. So the more everyone speaks up, it will hopefully work and get them home. So this is another thing, Bashir destiny. I'm not going to go in that. These are readings on freedom, and this is important. And this year we are slaves. So I don't want to read any of this to you. I will try and send to you. I do believe it's important that we do a prayer for our country. I believe that our country needs all of our blessings and all of our prayers. So then you go on and they do all these things in between, which if you pull it up or whatever you decide, you don't want to make it too long, it's true. So I know I won't do all of this because it will make it much longer. But it is just important that these things that are in the blue, that we do get these done. And we uncover and hold up the 3 pieces of matzah and say together, this is the bread of poverty, which our ancestors ate in the land of Egypt. All who are hungry, come and eat. All who are needy, come and celebrate Passover with us. This year we are here. Next year we will be in Israel. This year we are slaves. Next year we will be free. And that is just a nice little thing to say. And it gives a little bit more about it. I can remember one time when it was with Russian Jewry, we added an extra piece of matzah for the Russian Jews to have them so that they would have freedom. And
Eric's not coming?
it's just sort of started. Okay. All righty. 4 questions. If you don't have all right, so 4 questions. I'll stop share here. This is what I always ask the kids. So it says the 4 questions, and I have never looked into or found out why they call it the 4 questions, because how many questions are there? Really? Does anybody raise your hand? Or you're muted. If you're not mute. All right, Dale, you're saying 5? 5 questions? How many? How many, Cindy?
1 question, 4 answers.
Either you knew it or you remembered it right. 1 question. Why is this night different from all other nights? The rest of it are the answers. Because we do this. Because we do this. So like I say, I laugh that they call it the 4 questions, but it's not. It's 1 and it's all the answers. And it's pretty much the history. I mean, not the history, but it gives us the reasonings. We eat maror, bitterness. We eat matzah. We eat chametz all year long and matzah. Now we only eat matzah. We recline because, and I always bring this up to the kids. Why do we recline? And, I get all kinds of crazy answers. But the one that is important is that when we were slaves, we had to stand at attention. We had to wait on people. That was it. A free person has the ability to relax and eat. A free person has the ability to recline. So we recline because we are free. And then the 3rd one is the bitter herbs. Oh no, it's dipping. Why do we dip once? We dip twice. And why do we dip twice? And it says it later, and I don't have it on here right now, but I'll come back to it. So let's go on. I'll get this finished, and then we can just do some more discussion, and we can do maybe some brachot with it. All right. So I stopped the 4 sons long ago. But all of you, I'm sure, remember that it used to say the 4 sons because it was written by men, and they meant that the sons were important. We make it 4 children now, and I do believe that's important because we don't want to say it's just about boys. It's about girls, and it's about some of our children who aren't sure who they are. They really aren't, and that's, in my opinion, that's okay. They have to discover who they are. But to say it's just about boys, that's not right. So we do that. And they gave you the questions about the wise child, the wicked child, the simple, and the child who doesn't know how to ask a question. And then they give you modern ones. The first son, okay, they give you modern ones. I'm not going to read them. They are longer, but like I say, I think I'll be able to send you the booklet. And I think you can make up you can create any of these, not make up, create any of these. And see, here they say son, daughter, son, daughter. And in the conservative movement, we have stopped doing bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah in some places and stopped doing just he, she. They're doing non-gender. So you could certainly just do child, the first child. That's non-gendered. You don't really need it to be a boy or a girl. And it will, if you have anyone at your table, you never know. If you have anyone at your table who doesn't know yet who they are, this will make them feel more included, that it's just a child. So that's that part. And then here's the thing. This also tells you the story it gives you a play. And I am not doing it because you see how long it is? I mean, it's really, whoops, let's go back. Oh, Philly, now I gotta find this one to go back. Okay. All right. So then we have the 10 plagues, of which, I mean, you have children, it's kind of hard with this bottom one, the death of the firstborn, but I've been one of these kind of mothers who I tell my kids the truth, and we talk about it. I say it. If they ask the question, fine. we try and explain in the best way possible, in the least gruesome way, but just to know that this is a plague, and this did happen. And when I have kids here, I do all kinds of things. I take a picture of clear water and then a picture you can't see in, and I have boiled beets and it turns red. And when I say blood, that the Nile turned into blood, I pour into the clear picture the picture with the red, and it looks like it's spreading red blood through it. So they look. All of you, I know you know about frogs. They have frogs everywhere on every
We
Judaic.
have finger puppets.
What?
We have finger puppets for each of the
Right,
temples.
right. There's all kinds of things. You can do masks with this. You can do puppets. You can do, like I say, I do all kinds of things. I have these, I went to Dollar Tree and I bought all kinds of little gooey things for lice. Cattle disease, I have cattle on the table. I tell them to push them over. Beasts, I have lions and tigers and all. Boils, last year, everyone at their place had a sheet of paper with little circles on it, red ones. And I told them, put them on the person next to you. You know, just, I can't think of what they're called, the little circles, the red circles. And they put them on it. So, what?
Stickers.
Stickers, yeah, I like stickers, yeah, the little one. With hail, I usually use ping pong balls.
I use marshmallows that are as hard as hail because they're the same little teeny marshmallows for 40 years ago.
That's a good idea. And locusts, you can find things that look like locusts. For darkness, everybody has glasses. All the children have glasses. They put them on. It's darkness. And then we have the death of the firstborn. We say it. We don't do anything about it, but we say it, and that's it. I'm not doing this. 10 plagues of this is about coffee, and it's a whole big Megillah. But the point is that every Seder you can add and you can change, and you can make it more interesting, more important. I just believe that, and I try and do a little bit more with it. That talked about the plagues, and you see there's different modern plagues that, it's amazing they put Hamas as a plague because
Yeah.
they are. And if only the rest of the world knew this and would look at this, because Hamas isn't going to stop at Jews. They're going to, anybody who's not them, they're like our white supremacists. Anyone who is not that, I guess I shouldn't say it. It's political. Never mind. So they do, and of course, some of this maybe you agree with, maybe you don't. Social media, schools, they're talking about the colleges, all kinds of different things that are plagues that make life for others hard, that make it difficult. And then Dayenu is the one song I think everybody should sing, because it would have been enough. And we do believe that God gave us so much. So there is a present day Dayenu that you can sing. I'll read you just the first one. I believe this is so important. And Rabbinical Assembly has created a new committee that looks at the treatment of workers in slaughterhouses as well as the treatment of the animals. There are many people who aren't keeping kosher, they're becoming vegetarian because of that, but that's a thin line. But we do feel that everyone should be treated right. So when all workers of the world receive just compensation and respect for their labors, enjoy safe, healthy, and secure working conditions, and can take pride in their work, Dayenu, that would be enough. And so, like I say, these are modern, contemporary versions, and you can create them. You could even go around the room and ask someone what you think would be an important statement for Dayenu, something that it would have been enough if this would have happened. It would have been good. I do believe in that, going around the room for different things. We've done that before. It seems weird, but we're not. We're just at the second glass of wine. We hand wash, and then we do, as I told you, we do the motzi matzah. We do first hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We do that first, and then we do Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvot tov v'tzivanu al achilat matzah. Okay, commands us to eat. Achilat is to eat the matzah. So we say both of those over matzah, right? And you have the bitter herbs, you have a statement there, and you have what to say. And like I say, there's no prayer for the Korach sandwich or the Hillel sandwich, but it is. I do it. I don't know if everyone does it, but we do it. That my family always looks forward to it. They love the charoset, and I think I told you I make a Sephardic one. I actually make both. There's an Ashkenazic type and a Sephardic. And if you look online, you could probably find 2 dozen other ways to make charoset. It doesn't have to be made always the same, but I make the two. Ashkenazic is the basic almonds, walnuts, apples, and wine. And my Sephardic is dates and raisins and apples and a lot of cinnamon and a little bit of orange juice and some things like that. So it's good. It's sweeter, and the kids love it. And here's our meal. And they give you a question here. What's your superpower? So they believe that, everybody's going to be talking anyway. If you want to make a conversation type thing, it's fine, but you don't have to. But so then you have the afikomen, and the children go in search. And here it says the Seder cannot continue without it. And that's how I look at it too. We have to find the afikomen. My husband sometimes used to hide it in such places it was almost impossible. We had to give them clues. You're hot, you're cold. So, it just that's and then grace after meals, which is Birkat Hamazon. We say that, and then you do your third glass of wine. They do sing again. Chad Gadya is I don't know. We don't generally do it. It's really a tough kind of song. If you look at the words, there was a kid, and then a cat ate the kid, and then they had a stick that beat, and the dog did this to and it's like, not pleasant, but it's cute. I guess it's symbolic. It doesn't really. There's really no reason they've never had an explanation as to where it came from. But you have your fourth glass of wine and this Elijah's cup. Okay. So what do we do with Elijah's cup? And this is just a suggestion. Is this empty, right? And I say that all of us are important in the revelation and freedom and bringing this to a better world. So the cup gets passed among everybody. You either put wine, grape juice, whatever you have there, even water. Some of the people only have water. You each participate in bringing peace to this earth. And we take and we go all the way around, and then we invite Elijah in, Eliyahu, and we sing it. If you don't know it, you can always get a transliteration, but it really tells us that Elijah the prophet, the returning, the man of Gilad, returns to us speedily and in our days with the Messiah, the son of David. So that's an interesting way they say it. I grew up learning that he would be considered the Messiah. They consider David the Messiah, King David. And that's probably a lot why we do the Ruth mix, the combination of inclusion, but also, as it said, Ruth was the ancestor of King David. And then the Miriam's cup. This is one of the very important things to me as a feminist, as a woman in Women's League, is the Miriam's cup. This is filled with water, and it symbolizes Miriam's well, a magical source of water that lasted during the 40 years the Jews spent wandering in the desert. We also honor Miriam for liberating the Jewish people. She saved Moses from death on the Nile. She gave the Pharaoh's daughter a nurse who was Moses's mother. And we just celebrate her. There's so much about Miriam. She wherever they were in the desert, there was water because of her. When she died, the water stopped. There was no water. So and then we would include the Seder concludes. It says ending it, and we think about the future. And always we say Lashana Haba'ah, B'Yerushalayim, next year in Jerusalem. So that's the end of that.
Wow, that's
I-
great.
I will stop here. So I don't know if this is what you thought we were going to do today, but I just felt that it was important to kind of go through it. So any questions,
Fascinating.
anything that, or any suggestions, anything you have found you've done in your Seder you'd like to share? Or questions about what we did? Yes, Harriet.
Well, it's something we've never done before, but I decided this year that we're going to start the Seder with Ahenu. I'm gonna send it out to the people who are coming.
Right.
We can do it in Hebrew, we'll do it in English. I just feel as if we have to do something. We don't usually do a prayer for Israel at the Seder, we talk about it, but this year that's something that I feel really strongly that we have to add. I want everybody to understand what's
Right.
happening. I'm sure they do, but we have people who aren't Jewish coming. And so I just felt as if that was something that I wanted to add.
I think I sent it out. Didn't I send it to you all? I did.
I have
did.
it,
I did
yeah.
send it. I
Mhm.
did. You had given it
thank
to
you.
us and I sent it. And but that I agree with you. I do believe that this year particularly, and last year was too, we really do need to bring Israel into our Seders, into our lives. You may not agree with everything that's being done by the prime minister or by whatever. And that's okay. I have said this before. I am a strong Zionist, but as a Zionist who lives in the diaspora, which is where we live, we don't live in Israel, we live outside of Israel, the diaspora. As a Zionist, I am a strong supporter of Israel. I donate when I can, I plant trees when I can, I support them, but I don't have any right to tell them what to do. That's my opinion as a Zionist in Baltimore and in the United States. We live here. They are the ones who have to decide what they need to do for their country and them. I can support whatever decisions they make. Like I say, I may not agree with it, but I do support them and whatever way I can. And honestly, I know Women's League has so strongly supported Israel. We've had missions, and Rabbi Ellen, our executive director, and Julia Loeb, our president of Women's League International, have been on trips there. They've been there. They've worked to help on a farm in different places. Many congregations send groups of people over to help. They still need it. I mean, their farms, some of them have built up some of their farmland, but not all of it. What the Hamas did to that area there is one of the saddest things. I mean, land and crops and livestock, these are people's living, and they destroyed it. So Israel is working to get it all built back, and but it takes time and money.
Ian, do you think we should add a prayer for our country as well this year?
Oh, I did. That's in the booklet. I
It is
agree.
in the booklet? Oh, good.
It is
because,
in the booklet.
we're so
And I
diverse.
agree, because we may not agree with everything here,
Of
but
course,
definitely, I do. I am one of those believers. I know the women who were in the bat mitzvah class, they heard this last night, and I talked with the rabbi about it when you all were in breakout room. I do believe that prayer works. Maybe not always. Someone is sick, really sick, and they don't get better. They die or whatever. But I do believe that prayer does work. They did a study once where, people who knew that someone was saying prayers for them got better. Maybe not the best, but better. So I am a firm believer in that. So yes, Nancy, definitely say a prayer for our country. Say a prayer for our states. That wouldn't hurt. Some of us live in a state that is really making life hard for our children and other people. So it wouldn't hurt. The more prayers you say, the better I think we'll all be. But
can't hurt.
nope, can't hurt. Not at all. And it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be in Hebrew. It can be in English, just from your heart. Just
And
say what you.
I have people that don't believe it, and I always say, you know what? I'm praying for you anyway because it can't hurt.
You're right, Nance. Exactly. Anybody else? Anybody? Yes, Janet.
So I took an interesting mini class last week. It was on the science of the 10 plagues. And for those of us, like we were talking last night in the bat mitzvah class, like, we don't necessarily believe everything exactly as it, for those of us that don't, that it unfolded as exactly in the Torah. But that, was there some science that could have caused all these things over a number of years? And yes, indeed, there was, like, for example, the red algae could have caused the red blood in the Nile. Also, there were eruptions of a volcano on Santorini, which is somewhat far from Egypt, but theoretically, it could have affected the climate there. And all these other things could have happened either from the climate change or from the red algae. For example, it killed all the fish, and then there were more frogs because the frog eggs were not being eaten by the fish, et cetera, et cetera. But for those of you that want the background on this, after he spent 45 minutes going through all of this, he played like a 14-minute, it's a 2-part video that summarized it all anyway. But the video is the science of the 10 plagues from 2007. I believe it's on YouTube. And it's really fascinating. Because it explains this all could have happened. We don't know the time frame over which this all happened, supposedly during Moses's life, but it lends some credence to this story that maybe this isn't just all a fairy tale or just something that God directly did over a week or two.
Right. Good. They didn't hear you. It's called The Science of 10 Plagues from 2007. I'll send it out to you all again just to make sure you got that. But thank you, Janet. Yes. Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, there's scientists will look into all of this, and many of them do believe in, I would say a lot of them believe in God, in some power of something, even though they look at things scientifically. But there was a long time ago about the splitting of the Red Sea. They say, well, how did that? Well, some scientists will say it was low tide, and they went through, and then it happened. So whatever way that it does create a story, but it creates a history. But okay, bye-bye, Vivian. It does. It creates a story, it creates a history, and you learn from it, and you can always get something positive out of these things. So one other thing I will tell you, though, or more, but years ago, I don't know, maybe about 10 years ago, there was an article that came out from Israel, excavations. They had done some excavating at the bottom of the Sea of Reeds, which it is, the Red Sea, is the Sea of Reeds, and they saw chariot wheels. And I think they took them out and put them somewhere. They saw chariot wheels. So whether you want to believe or not that Pharaoh's men went there and the water came over them and that's it, who knows? We don't know. We weren't there. But that does kind of prove that there was something that happened. So the archaeologists in Israel are constantly trying to relate our biblical history and check, and how do I want to say it? Verify it. And so they're constantly, and what they do, that's how the Dead Sea Scrolls came about. They were digging and they went and they found, and wow. So these Torah scrolls had been around for a long time. So having, we know that the rabbinic era, they did a lot, and they wrote down a lot, but they supposed to know that it hasn't happened thousands of years ago. That's what they're trying to prove. But it is our history. It is not just our biblical history. We have a history in Israel now, but we have a biblical history that's part of Israel and Canaan. So we do have that. But yeah, thank you, Janet. That's a good thing. I'll send that. And I'm going to be sending you a whole lot of things.
Are we having class next week?
Next week? No,
I
we're not
don't
going to
know.
have, I've got too much cooking and baking to do. I can't do it. Cindy, what? You're muted. You're muted, Cindy. Cindy, you're muted.
I appreciate everything you're going to send, but could you add your bagel recipe, please?
Oh, yeah. The roll, yes.
Yeah,
I
well,
will.
yeah, I make mine with muscle meal and they are as dense as they come, but they're good, but I wouldn't mind a different version.
Sure. I will send that. Definitely. I'll send you whatever I have. I'll send you my Sephardic chorosid if you'd like. That's
And the
the
rolls too, and the rolls?
rolls are the same. She's saying bagels, but they're rolls.
Oh,
That's
oh, the rolls.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So they're cake meal is what it is. That's
I
what's the
like, yeah, I
difference.
like that.
Only
Yeah.
cake milk, no matzo meal at all?
No, it's all cake meal.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. So it's all cake meal. It's pretty easy, and how hard, it's water and oil and salt and then that and eggs and then you.
And I
Mhm.
have someone coming to me who's vegan and gluten free. Can you use the not real eggs substitute in that recipe? Have you ever tried that?
I've never tried it. You could try it. I don't know.
Let you know.
There was
Yeah.
a lot of gluten-free stuff in our grocery.
I was surprised. I have gluten-free matzah meal. I have gluten-free cake meal. I was
But
really shocked on the
most
cake
of
meal.
those have egg yolks in them.
that I don't
I've
know.
been
Yeah.
having a problem to find something for this
Egg,
particular
okay.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
vegan is really,
Salad.
really hard. Vegan, there's no eggs, there's no meat,
Yeah.
obviously, but no eggs, so
No
that
dairy.
is hard. But if you go in, honestly, this is how I do everything. If you go in and say, what's a substitute for
Yeah.
such and such, generally Google will give you some answers. It'll give you some lists and try them. I often have run out of something and then I say, what can I substitute this for? And I pick from the list, whatever. Some of the things I wouldn't do, but just try it, just Google. It'll help.
And
Thank you.
I'm appreciative of you bringing in this new Seder book, The Jew Belong, which I wasn't familiar with. It really is a good read to
Yes.
have a lot of good messages,
I
definitely
I
in
think
it.
I'm going to send it to my kids who don't celebrate. They're not in the 20%
Oh.
that don't celebrate. But just to let them know that there's so much else in there. I think it's worth the sending to them. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is, because it's really not just about Pharaoh and Moses and all. It relates to us today.
And that's
truly
why, because it's so
does.
relatable to what's going on today.
Right.
That's the reason I'm sending it to them.
Definitely.
I
And
appreciate it.
when is our next class going to be? Are you meeting the week of Passover? The following one?
Yes, 4/18, which is the 6th day of Passover.
Yeah.
Which we can, at least I observe 8 days. So 7 and 8 is fine, is not. We wouldn't do 7 and 8, but 6 we would do. So yes, we will. And we'll count the Omer. And I don't know, I may start, if you all want to learn something else, it's the 6th day, we're going to discuss and count the Omer, and I know we should do more. So if anybody wants to learn something particular that day, or has a question about what happened at the Seder or anything else, email me and I'll add it. So we'll do that. But what time is it? Oh my goodness.
So
Ladies.
happy Passover to
Have a
everyone.
happy
Everyone.
Good holiday.
Chag Sameach Pesach. Wonderful. And
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom tonight.
And Ann, you'll
Take
make
care.
it even more special for us by having this
Oh.
class today, really.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you,
my
Ann.
pleasure. I love you all. It's just
That's so great.
good for me. It's so good for me. All right. I am
Thank
going to
you.
end it.
Hugs.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.